It was an image designed to shock and awe. Elon Musk, the billionaire CEO, stood in the Oval Office alongside former President Donald Trump on February 11, 2025. Musk, sporting a red Make America Great Again hat, had just concluded a press conference defending a sweeping purge of the federal government. Adding to the spectacle was the presence of Musk's young son X, seemingly unfazed by the political maelstrom swirling around him. This meeting, broadcast live across the nation, was the latest chapter in a controversial partnership between two of America's most powerful and unpredictable figures. The press conference had an air of victory, with both Trump and Musk emboldened by what they portrayed as a righteous crusade against government waste. The American people, they argued, were tired of bloated bureaucracy and frivolous spending. Musk, appointed by Trump as the head of the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, was cast as the no-nonsense problem solver. He promised to bring his business acumen to Washington, cutting through red tape and streamlining government operations. His message resonated with a segment of the population disillusioned with traditional politics. However, beneath the veneer of efficiency and reform, there were growing concerns about the true nature of this alliance. Critics argued that the purge was less about eliminating waste and more about consolidating power. The targeted agencies, they pointed out, were often those involved in regulating industries in which Musk had a vested interest. The lines between public service and private gain were becoming increasingly blurred, raising questions about conflicts of interest and the erosion of democratic norms. Central to the government overhaul was the newly minted Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, as it was quickly dubbed. This agency, conceived by Trump and spearheaded by Musk, was granted sweeping authority to restructure, defund, or outright eliminate federal agencies. Musk, with his characteristic swagger, painted DOGE as a lean, mean efficiency machine. He promised transparency, regular consultations with President Trump, and a laser focus on achieving the administration's goals. The reality, however, was far more opaque. DOGE operated with a troubling lack of oversight. Its decision-making process was shrouded in secrecy. Accountability seemed to be an afterthought. The agencies targeted for efficiency were often those that clashed with the administration's ideological agenda or, more concerningly, posed potential regulatory hurdles to Musk's own business empire. This concentration of power in the hands of an unelected official, particularly one with such vast personal wealth and vested interests, set off alarm bells across the political spectrum. Constitutional scholars questioned the legality of granting DOGE such sweeping authority. They argued that it undermined the separation of powers and threatened the system of checks and balances that was fundamental to American democracy. Lawsuits were swiftly filed, challenging the constitutionality of DOGE and its actions. The legal challenges to Musk's government shakeup were swift and pointed. They centered on the unprecedented power vested in DOGE and its director. Critics argued that the executive branch had overstepped its constitutional boundaries, encroaching on the legislative branch's power of the purse and undermining the judiciary's role in interpreting the law. The lawsuits alleged that DOGE's actions violated the Administrative Procedure Act, which requires federal agencies to follow due process when making significant changes to their operations. Adding fuel to the fire was the Trump administration's dismissive response to these legal challenges. President Trump, known for his disdain for legal constraints, brushed aside concerns about DOGE's authority. He argued that he had a mandate from the American people to drain the swamp, and that any attempts to obstruct his agenda were unpatriotic. This dismissiveness toward the rule of law further eroded public trust and deepened the political divides. Even within the Republican Party, unease was growing. While many initially supported the idea of streamlining government, the scale and speed of Musk's purge raised concerns. Some lawmakers worried about the impact of mass layoffs on their constituents. Others questioned whether the elimination of vital government services, such as environmental protection and consumer safety regulations, would have unintended consequences. The partnership between Musk and Trump, once hailed by some as a bold experiment in government reform, has exposed deep fissures in American society. The push for efficiency, while superficially appealing, has raised profound questions about the balance of power, the rule of law, and the very nature of democratic governance. The long-term implications of this experiment remain uncertain. The erosion of public trust in institutions, the increasing concentration of power in the hands of the few, and the disregard for democratic norms pose significant threats to the future of American democracy. The outcome of the legal battles over Doge's authority will have far-reaching consequences, setting precedents for the limits of executive power and the role of the judiciary in holding the government accountable. The experiment in government efficiency may have inadvertently ushered in an era of uncertainty and instability. The true cost of this reform, both in terms of lost livelihoods and eroded democratic principles, is yet to be fully calculated. As America grapples with these challenges, one thing is clear: the future of U.S. governance hangs in the balance.